Welcome to the Salvos. We trust that you'll be blessed by this week's video.
Have you ever had a discussion with a friend of yours trying to debate about the truth of God? Have you ever found yourself in a situation like that where you're trying to prove that God is real, or discuss, or debate, or argue, or yell sometimes? Have you ever found yourself in that situation?
I haven't yelled.
Sorry, Betty.
I haven't yelled.
You haven't yelled?
I've certainly discussed it.
You've discussed it, Yep. It's funny how we as Christians often find ourselves in situations like that, don't we? Where we sort of, somehow God comes up and we're sort of trying to tell the other person about our experience of God and how God is true. That's what we do as Christians, isn't it? As God's people, we do that, or should be doing that. Sort of letting the world know that there is a light, and His name is Jesus. There is love, and His name is Jesus. It's funny how even this morning I was thinking of a whole lot of situations I was in throughout my life, trying to sort of talk to people about God and my experience of Him, and He's definitely true, He's definitely real. My experiences tell me that, and the Word speaks so much truth, doesn't it? Is it? Yeah, I didn't even think of a situation. I was in, where I used to work previously as a microbiologist. We went out for lunch every so often because we just needed to get out of the building. And we was at a chicken shop one day, and there was this girl who sort of was a bit interested in God, but I remember sitting there the whole of lunch sort of debating about God with her. It was a good, healthy discussion, but it's interesting how sometimes it can get heated. Especially when you know that they need God, they need Jesus, or else they're going to be lost. It's quite an important thing, isn't it? It's such an important thing that people need Jesus. Especially in the world today, the way it's falling apart, and just there's nothing of hope left in this world apart from Jesus. And I can't remember the last time I've had a good debate with someone about it. Even though I'm the officer, I'm the pastor, I'm the minister, whatever, I haven't had a really good debate like this for ages, and that worries me. Am I not doing my job? But in those moments when we are doing it, we almost want to call on God to show up and show off, don't we? God, prove yourself right now. Prove yourself to this person that you are real. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? If God did show up somehow and did speak into the heart right there, right then. It would save a lot of our words, wouldn't it? And I know my words aren't the greatest. Sometimes I can get tongue-tied or not have words to say. So if God turned up, that'd be probably good for me and for that person too. But I'm sure we can ask.
Excuse me, it's awkward when two people believe in Jesus but have different days that they worship. And this is where I find I argue.
Yeah.
Because no, I won't mention the name of the thing, but they don't worship on the Sunday.
Yep.
And I've had many a fight and many an argument about the proper, Saturday or Sunday.
Yep. Even within the church, there's so many different arguments still, aren't there? Even we argue with each other. How are we supposed to?
It's a shame when you both believe in Jesus, you both believe in God, and yet you have this strange thing, you're wrong.
It's true, yeah. It is interesting, even within church these days, we have so many arguments against each other. But up on the wall, we've got our 11 doctrines of the Salvation Army, our 11 core beliefs. And I think they're the most important things for us as the Salvation Army that we believe. So hopefully we don't argue on those points, because they're the 11 main points that we find in the Bible. Anyway, that's a bit of a side issue, but it is good that we can have some discussions with other people. And hopefully we are having discussions with other people about God, and letting them know that those who are living in the darkness, that there is a light, and there is a hope, and His name is Jesus. I went back in my Bible, even though we just read from Romans 8, I want to go back a little bit further in the Bible to the Old Testament, to 1 Kings 18. Did you know there was a book called 1 Kings? Good. Anyway, that's good. There's a guy, an amazing, great prophet back in the Old Testament called Elijah. Hopefully you've heard of Elijah. He was one of the biggest prophets, one of the spokespeople for God. And in this stage, in chapter 18, he'd been hunted down by the king's wife. The king's wife was quite a nasty woman. Her name was Jezebel. And you might have heard of the name Jezebel, and she was a nasty woman. She was hunting down all the worshippers of God and killing them. And at this stage, Elijah thought he was the only person that worshipped God that was still in existence. He thought he was the only one left that worshipped God. And he was feeling scared, and he was running for his life just after this as well. But it wasn't a good time for God's people. So they were getting killed. They were actually literally getting killed. Something we don't have to worry about here in this country, right in Sale, do we? We're all pretty safe right here. So Elijah, I can't even imagine what it was like for him to actually have to run for his life and feel that he was about to be killed. But there's an interesting part of this story, which I might read a part of it. Basically, Elijah was accused of making trouble, being a big troublemaker in the whole country. So it says, "I have not made trouble for Israel." This is 1 Kings 18 for verse 17, if you want to follow along. But verse 18 says, I have not made trouble for Israel," Elijah replied, "but you and your father's family have. You have abandoned the Lord's commands and have followed the Baals. Now summon the people from all over Israel to meet on Mount Carmel, and bring the 450 prophets of Baal and the 400 prophets of Asherah who eat at Jezebel's table." So Ahab sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel. Elijah went before the people and said, "How long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. If Baal is God, then follow him." But the people said nothing. Then Elijah said to them, "I am the only one of the Lord's prophets left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Get 2 bulls for us. Let them choose one for themselves, and let them cut it into pieces and put it on wood, but not set it fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on wood and not set fire to it also. Then you will call on the name of your God, and I will call the name of my God, the Lord. And the God who answers by fire, he is God." That's a pretty big call, isn't it? Getting the prophets of Baal, there was about 450 of these prophets of Baal, the false god, and then there was Elijah by himself, who was the prophet of God, the Lord, our God that we know. And he's basically put him to a test. Get 2 bulls. You sacrifice one bull, I'll sacrifice another. The God who turns up and destroys it by fire will know is the true God. It's almost like these discussions we've been having just before, wasn't it? Like if we had these arguments or debates or conversations with people that don't know about God, we could call on fire from God, couldn't we? That would show up that God's true. If God shows up in fire, they'll believe, right? It's almost like this in the story. So Elijah's actually calling God, almost like testing him, saying, the God who turns up by fire will know is the true God. And it's quite an interesting head off here, actually. So anyway, they call on the name of Baal from morning till noon. So quite a while. And they're crying out, "O Baal, answer us," they shouted. There was no response. No one answered. And they danced around the altar that they had made. So this is the worshippers of Baal at this stage. So at noon, Elijah began to taunt them. As you do, of course, you're going to get killed anyway, right? So let's start taunting the 450 prophets of Baal. So Elijah starts shouting, "Shout louder," he said. "Surely there is a God. Perhaps he's in deep thought, or busy, or travelling. Maybe he's asleep and must be awakened." So they all shouted louder and slashed themselves with swords, and the blood flowed. Midday passed, and they continued their frantic prophesying until the time for the evening sacrifice had come. There was no response, no one answered, and no one paid attention to the worship of the prophets of Baal. Then Elijah said to all the people, "Come here to me." And they came to him, and they repaired to the altar of the Lord, which was in ruins. Elijah took 12 stones, one for each 12 descended from Jacob, to whom the word of the Lord had come saying, you shall be named Israel. With the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord, and he dug a trench around it, large enough to hold 2 cellars of seed. That's, I'm guessing, a lot. He arranged the wood, cut the bull into pieces, and laid it on the wood on the altar. Then he said to them, "Fill 4 large jars of water, and pour it as an offering on the wood. Do it again," he said, and they did it again. "Do it a 3rd time," he ordered. And they did it a 3rd time. The water ran around the altar and even filled the trench. At the time of sacrifice, the prophet Elijah stepped forward and prayed, "O Lord, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, let it be known today that you are the God in Israel, and that I am your servant and have done all of these things that you have commanded. Answer me, O Lord, answer me, so that these people will know, O Lord, that you are God, and that you are turning their heads back again." Then in verse 38 it says, "Then the fire of the Lord fell and burned up the sacrifice, the wood and the stones in the soil. It also licked up water in the trench. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." So I'm not sure if you can imagine yourself in this story. It would be quite amazing to see, wouldn't it? There's these 450 prophets, plus everyone else in town watching. So it was a big deal. 450 prophets of Baal, who was the false god, and they sacrificed the bull, waited and cried upon him, and slashed themselves all day trying to get this god to respond. And nothing happened. From early morning to noon to the evening sacrifice time. And nothing happened. Then Elijah got his sacrifice ready, poured a whole lot of water on it so it wouldn't catch fire easily. He was sort of showing off extra, wasn't he? And then he simply said, God of Israel, Isaac and Abraham, show all the people in your presence today that you are the one true God. And then could you imagine this amazing pillar of fire coming from heaven down and destroying this sacrifice and basically taking the sacrifice that he had made? And then you'll believe too, wouldn't you, that God is God. When this amazing miracle happened, this whole fire came down from heaven. The 450 prophets of Baal would be quite scared at this stage, I'm imagining. Because it didn't end well for them, unfortunately. But God is God, isn't He? This is our God that we worship. God that showed up on this day for the one prophet left, Elijah, so he thought, and showed the whole country of Israel that He was the one true God. I'm not sure about you, but there was the two camps on that day. There was the prophets of Baal, and then there was the camp with the prophet of Elijah. And we know that the prophet camp was the one that Elijah was in, right? He was serving our God. But have you ever found yourself in the other camp, where you might have been serving a false god? Have you ever been in that sort of situation where you might have put something else before God? Not necessarily Baal, but quite often we, even as God followers, can actually find ourselves not giving priority to God. We could easily be caught up within family, putting family before God, maybe trying to make some extra money, putting that before God. Phones, a lot of people these days can become their gods, can't they? It's simple that other things can become a false god. We can actually easily, even though we know God is God and the one true God that can bring fire down from heaven, we can easily find ourselves distracted and in the wrong camp. Have you ever found yourself there? Maybe even without realizing it. It's easy for that to happen. We can call on the wrong things for power. But we know that in Elijah's camp, in the camp of the one true God, God will always turn up at the right time and give you what you need. Because we know He is a loving God who cares for us, who sacrificed His Son so that we can have the freedom from those false idols, those things that we so often get sucked into. You can even think about a whole lot of stories where God showed up and actually was on His people's side. So we know God will protect us no matter what and look after us, because we are His children. We sang about it before, I am a child of God. Do we believe that today? We are children of God, the Most High God, the God that can bring down fire from heaven. Even looking through the Old Testament, with Moses trying to bring his people out of Israel, he split the seas, the Red Sea, so they could be free. God went to some extreme lengths to save His people. The same things He'll do for us today. Because we are children of God, He loves us as much as He loved the Israelites back in those days with Moses, doesn't He? He loves us just as much. So He might split the sea for us to go through if we needed to get to freedom or get to safety today. Do you believe that? God would do the same thing for you today if He needed. Even the story of Daniel in the lion's den. You know the story of Daniel where Daniel got thrown, he refused to worship any other god but the one true God. He got thrown in the lion's den because of it. But God saved him by shutting up the mouths of the lions. God did that for Daniel. He'll do it for us too, wouldn't He? Then there's Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego. They refused to bow to worship any other god too, didn't they? And they got thrown in a fiery furnace. The fire was so hot that the people that threw them in got killed straight away. But But yet the king from his palace could see that they were walking around in the fire. The fire that was so hot that it was heat up the whole town. But it didn't just stop there. There was 4 people he saw walking around in the fiery furnace, even though 3 got thrown in. The angel of the Lord was with them. Will God do that for us again today? If we refuse to bow down to any other God, will God protect us like that? Let us walk through a fiery furnace and not be burnt. Or even the story of Joshua. I love this story too, especially as a scientist. When Joshua went into a battle one day, we know that God was on their side. But they needed to win the battle, but it was going to get dark too soon. So God stood the sun still in the top, in the sky. The sun didn't set for 24 hours, so they could win the battle. Like, God is a God that is on our side. Are we aware of that? If we serve God wholeheartedly with everything we have, if we love Him and serve Him and put Him first, will He not look after us just like He looked after them? Alexis just read for us before from Romans 8, verse 31 says, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" If God is for us, who can be against us? In the song I just showed you, taught you before, No Longer Slaves, it has a line, "You split the sea so I can walk right through it." Is God splitting a sea for you right now so that you can walk through it? Have you got a problem in front of you, there's something opposing you that's holding you back, that God might actually split almost like the seas so you can walk right through? So I'm pretty sure God will do that for you. He loves you that much. There's another song that we've sung in the youth camps the last couple of years. There's a line that says, "I'll walk through the fire and not be burnt." It's almost like Meshach. I keep forgetting the names. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Just like them getting thrown into the fire. If we got thrown into even if it's a literal fire or a metaphorical fire, wouldn't God look after us? If God is for us, who can be against us? And I heard a preacher say years ago, what better way than to actually fight fire with fire, but be on fire for God? If we were on fire for God, and we just loved Him, we were on absolute fire, if we got thrown in the fire, we'd be immune to it, wouldn't we? So we're on fire for God, fire won't burn us. So we are on fire for God already. I love that idea, that whole idea of that was sort of stuck with me for a while now. So this is quite an amazing story of Elijah. Even though he thought he was the only one left that worshipped God, he still stood up to all the prophets, the false prophets of Baal. Even though there's 450 people who are opposing him. If I had 450 people opposing me, I'll be sort of backing off a little bit, I think. Knowing that they were going to kill me. But he still stood up to them and knew that he served the one true God. He stood up to them because he knew that he was on the right side and that God was for him. Who could be against him? And God showed up, showed off, and they realised that on that day, because of his actions, because of his stubbornness, and a whole lot of people realised that God was real. Yeah, the one true God, He was on his side. But I'm still aware that we can easily slip into the wrong camp sometimes. Are you putting anything before God today? When in Elijah's camp, God was on his side and he was on God's side full-heartedly. He served God with everything he had. But quite often, something can distract us or become a priority for us. We can change camps. Does anything become a priority over God for you at this moment that you might need to shift it around and change and put God back as a priority in your life? This can easily happen, can't it? We just sang about no longer slaves. Because so often we can slide, can't we? And become slaves again by putting something wrong before God. Even as Christians, we're not immune to that. We can slide back and put something else as a priority before God. Whether it's work, whether it's family, whether it's a problem you've got in your mind. If you put God first, everything else will fall into place. I can guarantee it. I can speak from experience. We can all speak from experience. Put God first, everything falls into place. Because God is on your side. Who can be against you? I love the story of Elijah. He knew he served the one true living God. And even against the whole army of opposition, he still stood firm in his belief, in his faith. And God showed up because he was on his side. Are we all in the right camp today? Have we all put God first? Is God first in our minds, in our hearts, in our souls, in everything in our lives? All our decision making, God has to be a part of it, doesn't he? If God's not a part of all our decisions in our life, even just one, we're not putting ourselves in a great place to go forward, are we? So I might just sing that chorus again with "Now I'm the Slaves," just while we think about it. I might sing the chorus and maybe the bridge a couple of times. And just thinking about it, is everything in your mind, in your heart, in your soul got God first as his first priority? Or is there something else that's above him right now? Just think about it as we sing this chorus again.